So imagine this situation. You hear about some new book which it has good reviews and it's supposed to have some progressive ideas. So you get the book, you take it to school, and then out of nowhere your teacher says, "Hey, you can't have that here. It's been banned." So this situation happens all over the world all the time to a lot of people, and it's even happening in our district. So this is censorship. Now, a lot of censorship can be good, as it's necessary to keep things from being shown that really don't need to be. Um, but there's also a lot of situations where it just doesn't work out. So I'm going to talk about the blockage of information that can come from censorship, the effects on kids that can come from censorship, and the effects and the ways that people are taking advantage of over censorship to make money. So, information is very important. It's basically one of the building blocks of our society. Um, a lot of times, information needs to be kept private or needs to be kept away for safety reasons. However, there's also a lot of information that needs to be given to people um, so that we can prevent mistakes from happening. One example of information being blocked for propaganda or to keep people uninformed would be in the 1930s in Nazi Germany. A lot of information was blocked out by the Nazis to keep people uninformed. In 1933, a lot of books were burned, and in 1939, radio signals from outside of Germany were cut off. This situation may seem quite extreme for today's standards, although even something as simple as blocking a book about the Holocaust for violence can result in a lot of the information being like unknown to people. In addition, a lot of places today still use this kind of censorship. So another effect of over censorship would be the effects on children. So it's in general, a lot of times it is actually a good thing to keep things away from children that they don't need to see. The problem comes when it's used in the wrong way. The internet is not very censored, and if a child is watching something, it can pop up from anywhere. Unfortunately, a lot of websites still try to censor things that aren't really made for children, even though the website wasn't made for a child in the first place. And a lot of times this is done using AI or an algorithm, which doesn't do a very good job of blocking it, which means a lot of times children will just see stuff they're not supposed to see. Um, a lot of times parents will like leave their child unattended because they think, oh, well, these things are supposed to be censored, so I don't have to pay attention to them. And a lot of times this can leave kids unattended. Um, so here's a story. When I was 8 years old, I was watching some YouTube videos and then I got super scared by a video. And for a next couple of months, I was like too scared to go to sleep. I kept my parents up for hours at night. And so after that, they limited my screen time. But after a few years, when I was older, I was able to go back and see those same things again, which I was then okay with. But those things weren't if there weren't some things that were blocked off, they might have realized sooner that I wasn't probably shouldn't have seen it at that age. So there are some websites that are completely safe for kids, and parents should be able to monitor their kids rather than letting kids watch whatever. And that means that kids are more likely to see things that are safe for them. Another important thing to think about is how people will try to take advantage of censorship in order to make more money. Now, a lot of times, it is kind of necessary for like news channels to block out things that are controversial, or for uh, companies to keep things like towards their target audience. However, this is often abused. One very well-known and recent example of this would be Disney. Disney has a history of over censorship by blocking out things like main characters that are supposed to be LGBTQ plus, and keeping them like removing them, canceling series, um, mostly because a lot of areas still aren't progressive enough to accept these, and because of this, Disney just bows down to their needs and completely tries to remove it. Another example of this would be in news channels. A lot of news channels try to be polarized to certain opinions. Uh, Good examples would be Fox News or CNN. While a lot of these usually tell the truth, they word things carefully or block out certain information that's still truthful but very deceptive. Um, a website called allsides.com can see a comparison. So, an article about the California fast food wage raise could give you something like California food minimum wage jumped to $20 an hour, but who gets it from one side, where it could also be California's crazy new food wage from another side. This has completely different connotations and meanings, and the blockage of information for the editors can completely change the way people think about something. So, we went over all the ways that over censorship can have problems, and the blockage of information on children, and in the way people can abuse this for money. Thank you for listening, and here are my sources.